Oh, got one. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, look at the mouth of that puppy. Holy cow. Hi, thanks for joining me on my channel, Dan the Fishing Man. So, today I want to talk about my ice fishing equipment that I use and how I arrange it so that it's convenient when I pull it out to where I go. When I go ice fishing, I often go to remote places in the mountains, like the Rocky Mountains, to ice fish, and there aren't people around, and I have to often walk long distances to get to the best fishing places. So, without further ado, first of all, this is my sled. I think it's about a medium size otter. I bought it from Bass Pro, and I like this sled because it's sturdy, and it also fits in the back of my car with the seat down, which is very convenient when I go ice fishing. I like to have everything ready to go in the car, and then I just get to the lake and I just pull it out of the back of my car. I've modified it. I've drilled 4 holes in it so that I can put a bungee cord through it to hold my equipment onto the sled. There's nothing more annoying than trying to cross a lake, and a snowy lake, and then have your sled tip over and all of your equipment fall out. Or to walk a long distance and then find out a piece of equipment has fallen off. So I have that method to keep my sled from falling off. I also use another rope on top of this rope. I put it around my body as a harness. So it makes it a lot easier than instead of trying to pull with my arm gets tired and it cuts into my hand. I have a rope that goes around my body that ties onto this. And it's much easier and more ergonomic to drag your equipment out. So I want to talk about the equipment that I have and how I arrange it. So this is the equipment you need to ice fish. You need a sled to carry all your stuff. You need a shovel, a good sturdy shovel. This one's got a metal handle on it, and that helps you to clear the snow away when you get to where you decide you're going to fish, so that you can get your ice auger down deep enough. And also, if you have a tent, to remove the snow so that when you turn your heater on, it doesn't melt all the snow and get everything wet. So I like to put it in my sled in such a way that it fits properly. So this is a curved end, and it fits into my sled just perfectly like that. Another important piece of equipment in Alberta, where I'm fishing, we're allowed to have 2 lines in the water at any time. So one of those lines can be a tip-up. So I have several different kinds of tip-ups. This is one of them I carry. It's very compact, as you can see. I bought this one also, a 3-pack from Bass Pro, and it folds down nicely, so it's good for traveling. And it just opens up like this, and there's wing nuts that you tighten and loosen, and that keeps it from falling in the hole. This keeps it upright. I like this one also because when it springs, I put a little bell on this one, and then when the fish triggers it and springs, it makes a noise, and it goes ding 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 ding, and then you know there's a fish. So that's nice. And I like that it's very compact, so it fits in my sled very well, just flat down like that. Another thing that you absolutely need when you go fishing, ice fishing, is you need an auger. There are all kinds of different kinds of augers you can buy. You can buy a power auger, you can buy one that's gas powered, you can buy one that's battery powered. Mine is just a good old hand crank one. It's a Normark, 6-inch. And these blades, I always keep the cover on it because these blades are razor sharp. You'll slice your hand open. One time I tried to move some snow off of it while I had winter gloves on, and it sliced through the gloves and sliced through my hand. And even though I tore a rag up and tied a pressure bandage on it, it bled all day long. The ice is covered in blood. So I always break it down when I travel, so that's easy and compact. So the handle goes like this, and it forms a wall to help keep my stuff in the sled, and then my auger goes down like this. Once you got your holes dug or you're drilled, you're going to need to take the ice out of the hole. There's going to be 3 feet of slushy ice in that hole, and your line and your lure will not get down through it no matter how hard you try. You need some way of removing it. So you need some kind of scoop. This is one kind of scoop. It's nice in the sense that it's got a big basket, takes a lot of ice out. It's got a measuring device here up to 16 inches, and it's got an ice chisel on this end, which is helpful for clearing your holes later on. So, and it fits nicely like this in the cart. You also need some way to be able to walk on the ice. So I have these cleats, and I bought them. I think I bought these ones at Canadian Tire, but they have them at Bass Pro too. And they just slip over top of your boots. And when there's no snow on the ice is very slippery and very easy to fall down and hurt yourself. So you need some kind of metal ice cleat. So that's here. Go like that. When you're out on the ice, you need some way of sitting. So either you have to bring a pail to sit on, or you need some kind of chair. I have like a little tripod stool that I bring. It's very compact. It does the job, and it fits nicely in to my sled like that. Also, you need some kind of way to carry your fishing equipment, your lures and your lines and your baits and whatnot. I have a tackle box that I carry, and it fits in nicely like so. Often when I get to the lake in the morning, it's still dark because I'll get up quite early, like 5 o'clock or 4:30 in the morning, and go fishing. And you need some way of finding your way out onto the ice. So I have a light. So a headlamp is very useful. You'll need that for fishing. I like to put it near the front so it's accessible, easy to find. You'll need other safety equipment like a toque and some mitts. Keep your head warm, your hands warm. I like to keep those near the front too. Then you have a sonar unit. And I put it through here. I put it here. I also put it such that the handle, I'll put the bungee cord through the handle, so I know I don't lose this piece of equipment because it's very expensive. So, also you need some way of holding your rods. So there's just different styles of rod holders. This is one. You put it on the ice like this, and then you put ice, snow and slush on top of it, and it freezes in, and it'll hold your rod. If I can get a rod here. Hold your rod in place. So then sometimes, like, people think you have to always move your fishing rod. You have to always be moving your line to catch fish. The more you move your line, the more fish you catch. But that's not true. A lot of times all that movement spooks the fish, and you'll catch less fish the more you move it. So sometimes it's a good idea to jig your lure and then let it sit for a while. And the fish comes and looks at it, especially if you've seen underwater footage. Fish will get spooked by the movement, but they'll get drawn in by it, but then if you move it too much when they're there, they'll actually run away. So it's good to let your rod sit still sometimes. So you need some kind of rod holder. So that's one style. I usually bring two styles because I usually have two rods that I hook up. And this is the other style. This is like a tip-up style. And it sits like this. You put ice on this front part and it freezes in, and then you put your rod on it like this. And this one's not the best one to fit in this one because the handle's too thin. Like that. And then it's good because the fish will bite it and it'll move, and you'll see it move. So that's good. And it folds down, collapses. And it goes in like that. So it goes in like this. Then of course, when you're fishing in the mountains, in the prairies, it can be very windy and very cold. And it's the first year I fished, I didn't have a tent, and it was cold. So now I have a tent. It's not the world's best tent, but you can get different kinds of tents, varying price points. This is a $300 tent that I bought. It's a two-man tent, but then I have my tent, and I put that on top like this. And I kind of balance it a bit. And then I also have a jacket. So a lot of times I don't wear a jacket when I walk and drag this because I get too sweaty. And if you get too sweaty, you get wet, when you stop moving, finally stop moving, you get cold. So I take my jacket and I put that on top. I'll just put that across here, and then I'll put that across here like that. Like that. Right. And then another important piece of equipment is that often if you're fishing outside and you decide you don't want to be in your tent, you want to be out in the sunshine, you need some kind of baseball hat to keep the sun out of your eyes. So I always bring a baseball hat when I go fishing too. And then what I'll do is I'll take my rods and I'll put them across like this, and I'll bungee cord it down. So I always bring at least a tip up plus 3 rods. I don't use all 3 rods at the same time. I do only have 2 lines in the water at any given time. But because I'm going to these remote places, I want to have extra equipment in case a rod or a reel breaks or malfunctions. Then I have spare backup. Also, having more than 1 rod allows me to use different fishing techniques, pursue different species. So this is my heavy rod, my medium heavy rod. You can see it's got quite a bit of a backbone. I use this one for fishing for bull trout ranging from 5 to 15 pounds, or pike fish. This one is a 2 to 6 weight light medium rod, and you can see it still has backbone, but the tip is more supple, and I like using that for medium-sized fish and like walleye or trout. And then I also have this one, which is probably one of my favorite ones. It's a Frable. It's a quick tip 2 to 6 pounder, and the tip is very, very sensitive, but it still has backbone. You can see it's got quite a bit of backbone. So it's good for trout and small trout and also walleye. And I have a 4th rod. I just don't have it with me. That's even more sensitive. It's a light action rod that I use for small trout and panfish. So I'll bring 3 or 4 rods and reels with me just in case there's a problem, and also because it allows me to set each rod up with a different setup. So I might have 1 rod with a white tube bait, 1 rod with a heavy spoon, another rod with a lighter spoon. Maybe I have a 4th rod ready to go. Maybe I have it just with a treble hook with a minnow on it or a smelt on it. So I have different presentations. So depending on the day, the time of the day, the fish present differently, and they're attracted to different things. I can quickly change setups without having to stop and retie and all that kind of stuff. And I just take my rods and I stagger them like this. And I'll put them across like that so they don't get tangled. And I'll take my 1 or 2 bungee cords, go through the holes that I drilled. Go through the holes that I drilled, and I'll capture all that stuff and go to the other side and secure it down. And then I'll have like 2 of these and I'll crisscross them, and that holds all my equipment on. And then I can drag it, and I don't have to worry about falling over. If it tips over, things dump out. And the next one I'll go through the handle of this for my sonar, so I'm making sure my sonar doesn't fall off. And that's my ice fishing setup. I hope you found this video helpful to see how I organize my ice fishing sled. And remember to push the like button and subscribe to my like the video, and make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell's notification. And we'll see you on the lake.